These are important abbreviations that you're going to see a lot, in the statistical analysis and the reports that come out. And it basically, where it says right next to GL, you see a space. That's the score you want to look at for the percentage or degree of compliance, we call it, that the group leader achieved. So a group leader who gets 75, that means that they led the group 75% of the way that we think they should. And a group that gets 65, that means that they conducted themselves in group, following norms, executing procedures, that kind of thing, 65% the way that we think they should. And overall is roughly the average of these two. Okay, so let's say it would be a 60. Let's say it's a 69. Now the reason I say roughly the average is this, and this will help you when you learn to compute this. You see where it says points? Everybody see that? Then next to that it says items scored. Okay, this is why the overall score is only roughly a combination of these two. Let's say that I was able to score 50 items out of the 75 for the group leader. You would take 50 times 5. Okay, I would put 250 here. Why? Because that means 50 items were scored, so the possible score is 250, right? That's possible. And then say I scored 30 items for the group, okay? Because I could only observe 30 things that the group, 30 times 5 is what? 150. Okay, and let's say then that the group, I count up all the scores I gave them. Out of 150, the group got 95. And out of 250, the group leader got 195. Okay? The way you achieve this score here is by dividing the large number into the small number. And if these numbers were correct, which they're not, I would have come out with 0.75, which is how you come up with the compliance rating. And then if I divide this number into this number, if these numbers were the correct numbers, this would have been 0.65. So that's Dr. Van Houten who developed this. I told her I needed something simple that a social worker could understand. She's a research psychologist on the Harvard University, staff. So she developed this specifically for me. So you can see by this several things. Number one is you can get a compliance score even if you're not able to observe all the items. An absent item doesn't affect the score. They don't get minus something because you couldn't see whether or not they did it, right? But the way this relates to the fact that the overall score is only a rough average is you always compute the overall by adding these two together, which comes up to what? 400. Adding these two together, which comes up to what? 290. Then dividing the large number into the small number. You see, this will not render a score as an overall score that's an exact average of these two percentages because you saw more items here than you did here. So this score is going to be moved up a little because you saw more items in the group leader score than you did in the group score. So that's why I say it's not exactly a rough average. The reason we think that it's important to do it this way is, what if I only, for some reason, 75 things here, I saw 4 times as many things here. Direct observation of what I saw, this would give the group score disproportionate, influence over the overall score for what I saw. And also when we compute the agency's score, let's say I watched 5 group leaders, or let's say I've watched 5 groups, and in one of them I was able to see 175 points worth of action, but the other was just a video. I only saw 50 points worth of action. See, it's not appropriate for those two scores to get equal weight in a computation. because I'm not so sure that seeing 50 items got me the right score, but I saw 150 or 250 items. It's a higher degree of certainty. So everything is computed on raw scores, not on the outcome of the raw score. So that's how come this thing here is only a rough, a rough average of the scores.